Arman, you've been working towards this championship fight for a long time. Did you kind of have an idea of what it would look like when you got there, who you'd be facing, where it would be? Did you think about things like that?
When I got to UFC, I didn't think about the UFC belt and everything. I just wanted to get in top 15. But like after my first win, I wanted to be a champion, and I started like thinking about championship. And when Islam got the belt, I said I want to fight with Islam for the belt. So it's a rematch and fight for the belt. So
in a dimly lit gym, thousands of miles from the bright lights of Las Vegas, a warrior prepares for the biggest moment of his life. The rhythmic sound of gloves hitting pads echoes through the room. This is Arman Tsarukyan, no longer the wide-eyed rookie who stepped into the UFC octagon 5 years ago. Back in 2019, few gave the 22-year-old Georgian-Armenian fighter a chance against Islam Makhachev. With just 3 weeks' notice, Tsarukyan showcased a level of skill that made the MMA world take notice. Despite losing the decision, he proved something remarkable. Makhachev wasn't invincible. Fast forward to today. Islam Makhachev sits atop the lightweight division, having demolished every challenger in his path. His suffocating ground game and improved striking have earned him the reputation as one of MMA's most dominant champions. But beneath the surface of his reign, a storm has been brewing. Tsarukyan has evolved into a complete martial artist. At 27, he combines the technical brilliance of a veteran with the hunger of a young lion. His path to the title shot reads like a highlight reel. 5 consecutive victories, each more impressive than the last. The same fighter who once dreamed of simply wearing UFC gear now stands on the brink of championship glory. On February 17th, these 2 elite athletes will meet again, but this time the stakes couldn't be higher. For Makhachev, it's about cementing his legacy. For Tsarukyan, it's about fulfilling a prophecy he made to himself 5 years ago, that someday he would return to face Makhachev, not as an untested prospect, but as the man destined to claim the throne. This isn't just another title fight. This is a story of redemption, evolution, and the relentless pursuit. Before the bright lights and championship dreams, Arman Tsarukyan's journey began in the humble streets of Georgia. Born to Armenian parents, his early life was a testament to the immigrant spirit. Moving to Russia as a young fighter, he carried nothing but determination and raw talent. At 19, his aspirations were remarkably modest. While other fighters dreamed of championship gold, young Arman had 3 simple wishes: a UFC contract, a verified Instagram account, and an official UFC uniform. These weren't just material desires. They represented legitimacy, recognition, and belonging in a sport he desperately loved. Grinding through regional promotions, Tsarukyan built an impressive record. Each victory brought him closer to his dreams, yet the UFC felt worlds away. His manager kept promising that the call was coming, but days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Then came the moment that would alter his trajectory forever. 3 weeks before the fight date, his phone rang. The UFC needed someone to face Islam Makhachev, their rising Dagestani prospect. Many fighters would hesitate. Taking on a dominant grappler like Makhachev on short notice seemed like career suicide. But Arman saw opportunity where others saw danger. At just 22 years old, with the confidence that only youth can bring, he immediately accepted. When his manager mentioned the opponent's name, Arman's response was simple: "It's even better." The fight itself revealed something unexpected. Despite the short notice, despite the pressure, Tsarukyan gave Makhachev his toughest test to date. He achieved what seemed impossible, taking down the feared Dagestani wrestler. In those 15 minutes, Arman discovered something that would fuel his next 5 years. He's not that good like people thinks. This wasn't just bravado talking. Tsarukyan had felt something in that cage, moments of vulnerability in Makhachev's game that others had missed. Even in defeat, he'd learned more about himself and his future opponent than any victory could have taught him. That night in St. Petersburg, a loss on paper became the foundation for something greater. The teenage dreamer who once wished for a simple uniform had evolved into a man who knew, with absolute certainty, that he belonged among the elite. Inside the quiet mountains of Russia, far from the spotlight, Arman Tsarukyan underwent a transformation that few witnessed but everyone would soon recognize. The fighter who faced Makhachev in 2019 exists only in memory, replaced by a martial artist whose skills have reached extraordinary heights. Time served as his greatest ally. Those early limitations, the predictable striking, the unrefined timing, the raw technique, melted away through thousands of hours of deliberate practice. Where once he relied purely on wrestling, Tsarukyan developed a striking arsenal that makes opponents hesitate. His hands now carry the same threat as his takedowns, creating a puzzle few have solved. Youth brings more than just physical advantages. At 27, Tsarukyan harnesses something unique, the perfect balance of experience and hunger. Unlike seasoned veterans who fight to defend their legacy, he fights to create his. This hunger manifests in his training intensity, in the risks he takes, in the pace he maintains. When others tire, he accelerates. When others retreat, he advances. The contrast between past and present tells its own story. 5 years ago, a skilled but untested prospect pushed Makhachev to his limits. Today, a complete martial artist stands ready. His cardio, once a weakness, has become legendary. His fight IQ, previously overshadowed by raw talent, now rivals the sport's elite. Even his mindset has evolved, from hoping to win to expecting victory. Most telling is his approach to pressure. The young Tsarukyan fought with the recklessness of youth. Today's version brings calculated aggression, choosing his moments with surgical precision. He understands what few others grasp, that Makhachev's aura of invincibility is just that, an aura. And like any illusion, it can be shattered by someone who sees through it. This evolution wasn't just about adding tools to an arsenal. It was about transforming from a fighter who could compete with the champion into one prepared to dethrone him. The gap between then and now isn't measured in years, but in the countless moments of refinement that have forged a challenger worthy of the crown. Money, fame, Instagram followers. These temptations cloud the minds of many UFC contenders. But Arman Tsarukyan stands apart, driven by a singular obsession that consumes his every waking moment. The lightweight title isn't just a goal, it's become the focal point of his existence. Each morning begins with the same vision, UFC gold wrapped around his waist. Each night ends with strategic visualization of victory. This laser focus shapes every decision, every training session, every sacrifice. When other fighters chase sponsorships and social media fame, Tsarukyan remains immersed in the pursuit of mastery. Perhaps his most powerful advantage lies in an unexpected place, his mindset toward fighting itself. While Islam Makhachev carries the weight of legacy, expectations, and an entire region's hopes, Tsarukyan approaches combat with a different perspective. "I do this for fun," he says. But these simple words mask a profound truth. Fighting without the burden of expectation frees him to perform at his peak. This psychological edge manifests in crucial moments. When fatigue sets in, when adversity strikes, Tsarukyan's mind remains clear. He doesn't feel the pressure of defending a legacy or maintaining an image. His motivation comes from within, pure and uncomplicated. For him, fighting isn't a matter of life and death. It's an expression of excellence. The champions who leave lasting legacies often share this trait. They chase greatness not for external validation, but for the pure satisfaction of achievement. In Tsarukyan's case, the absence of pressure becomes his greatest strength. While others crumble under expectations, he thrives in the freedom of fighting for nothing but the love of competition and the pursuit of greatness. This mindset creates an intriguing dynamic. One fighter bears the weight of defending his throne, while the other moves with the lightness of someone who has nothing to lose and everything to gain. History shows that such contrasts often precede moments of remarkable change in the sport. A closer analysis of Islam Makhachev reveals cracks beneath his seemingly impenetrable armor. Despite his reputation for dominance, evidence suggests specific vulnerabilities that few opponents have been positioned to exploit. Arman Tsarukyan, having shared the octagon with him, understands these openings better than anyone. The champion's striking defense shows moments of vulnerability, particularly when pressured with sophisticated combinations. His tendency to rely on a high guard creates opportunities for body attacks and low kicks. While Makhachev's wrestling credentials command respect, his takedown defense against elite grapplers remains relatively untested. First-round damage emerges as a critical factor in dismantling Makhachev's strategy. When faced with significant early strikes, his methodical approach shows signs of disruption. When you get a hard punch, you forget about the game plan, Tsarukyan notes, highlighting a psychological component often overlooked in technical analysis. Traditional approaches against Makhachev have proven futile because they play into his strengths. Fighters who focus solely on takedown defense find themselves trapped in his preferred fighting range. Those who attempt to outmaneuver him on the ground quickly discover the futility of swimming in his waters. Victory requires disrupting his rhythm before he establishes his characteristic dominance. Tsarukyan's strategy represents a paradigm shift in challenging Makhachev. Rather than avoiding the champion's strengths, he plans to engage them with superior technique and explosive power. His ability to transition seamlessly between striking and wrestling creates a unique threat, one that Makhachev hasn't faced since their first encounter. The prevailing narrative of Makhachev's invincibility overlooks a crucial detail. He's never faced an opponent who could match him in every aspect of mixed martial arts. Tsarukyan's comprehensive skill set, combined with his intimate knowledge of the champion's tendencies, presents a challenge that statistics and rankings cannot quantify. Behind every championship quest lies a trail of sacrifices that few witness. For Arman Tsarukyan, the path demanded total dedication. Training camps meant isolation in Russia's remote mountains, missing family celebrations, and pushing through injuries that would sideline lesser athletes. The Armenian community rallies behind their warrior with unprecedented fervor. From the streets of Glendale, California, to the heart of Yerevan, support pours in. Ticket requests flood his team's inbox as a nation unites behind his pursuit of UFC gold. This groundswell of support carries weight. It's not just personal ambition driving him forward, but the dreams of an entire people. His vision for victory extends beyond the octagon. The belt's journey holds deep meaning, first to his birthplace in Georgia, then to Armenia, and finally to Russia. Each stop represents a chapter in his story, honoring the places and people who shaped his journey. The celebration isn't planned for Las Vegas's bright lights, but for the humble Armenian restaurants of Glendale, surrounded by those who believed from the beginning. 5 years separate the untested prospect from the refined challenger who stands ready today. Every training session, every victory, every setback led to this moment. The story comes full circle. The same man who once entered the UFC against Islam Makhachev now returns to claim what he believes was always his destiny. His prediction holds added weight because it emerges not from bravado, but from experience. He's felt Makhachev's strength, studied his tendencies, and spent 5 years preparing for this exact moment. The journey that began with a short-notice debut now culminates in a championship opportunity that feels less like chance and more like fate. As the final days of preparation wind down, Tsarukyan carries himself with the quiet confidence of someone who has glimpsed his own destiny. The belt isn't just a prize to be won, it's the physical manifestation of a journey that began long before he stepped into the UFC octagon. 2 elite warriors, 1 gold belt. At UFC 300, Arman Tsarukyan challenges Islam Makhachev in a battle that will reshape the lightweight division forever. 5 years ago, a 22-year-old rookie gave the champion his toughest test. Now that same fighter returns, transformed and ready to fulfill his destiny. In Tsarukyan's own powerful words, "I believe myself, I'm the guy who is going to beat him." History awaits. Be part of this journey. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications to catch every moment of our fight coverage. Drop your predictions below, and let's discuss who leaves UFC 300 with the gold. See you at Fight Night.